back to school is a favorite time of year for some, for others, not so much. But that's okay because finding the right tools can make a huge difference in having a better experience with your studies and your education and all that stuff, right? So we're going to talk tech about tools that make schoolwork easier and, dare I even say, a little fun, while also being easy on the budget. Of course, that is a sliding scale. So let's go ahead and get started, shall we? All right, so I know it's only July when I'm recording this. However, preparation is half the challenge, half the path to success, I guess, right? Okay, sorry, this is not working. Okay, well, we'll just do without that one then. Um, so yeah, I know when I'm recording this, it's only July, and a lot of people don't want to hear the back to school phrase. However, particularly when it comes to the tech gear, it is important to plan ahead and to have a game plan. And to understand what you want, because it may take you a little bit longer to get that than it is to just run to your local stationery store and pick up, pencils and a pad. So I know, but also it gives you something to look forward to. And by taking care of it now, you can enjoy those last days of summer with all of that stuff taken care of and really ease into things. Does that work? Yeah, it should work. Because while I understand that back to school is not a favorite time for everyone, it is for some. Like I always liked getting my new stuff for back to school, and I've found for even those who don't really look forward to it, having the right tools can make the whole experience much better for everyone. So we're going to talk about some of the tech things because your basic back to school list is covered by your school, right? Your school is going to send you a list of you need these things. These are things that maybe are not a hard need. Some of them you're going to need some form of, like some sort of computer probably at this point, or Chromebook. We'll talk about that. But these are things, these are tools that can make you more efficient. For those of you who are going away to school, will make your load a little lighter because some of these things will do multiple things for you, which is not only a money saving, but also a time and weight saving as you're hauling stuff around. So we've got a lot to talk about, and we're going to roll on through. I do want to mention, as always, all of the links are in the description. Then I'm going to show you a lot of things. But also, please understand, this is not a promoted thing, right? These are things that I know from my experience or from the experience of the people that I help out in my real world here, that they found the most benefit from. So for those of you who are going to be in my comment, sponsored post, it's not a sponsored post. Not that there's anything wrong with that. Not that I'd necessarily turn it down, but these are things that I, in real life, have had my hands on and used. A lot of these are things I use all the time. But like I said, there are a handful of things here that are things that I have recommended to other people based on their needs. And so I've seen firsthand that they have worked. Are we ready? Okay. Let's get started, shall we? All right. We can probably lose that. Okay, anybody who's been here for a while knows that Canva is going to be on the list. So for those of you who may not know, Canva is a web-based, well, yes, it is web-based. It's a web-based application that makes it infinitely easier to create all kinds of graphics and presentations and videos. It's just the ultimate toolbox for creativity. Now, why would this be important for school? Well, you need to do reports, you need to do charts, you need to do graphs, you need to do presentations. At this point, you may be doing little videos or whatever. You can do all that in Canva. You can do an amazing amount of it with the free version of Canva. And there's always a paid version. Really, for most of the stuff that you're probably going to be using for school, the difference between the free and the paid is having access to like the library of all the photos and all that kind of stuff. And even that's not a deal breaker, right? You sign up for the free one, use it for free. And then if there is one particular element that you need or want for your particular presentation, you can just pay for that one thing. Anywhere from like 99 cents to like $3. And then you can go ahead and use it. So you don't have to get into a monthly subscription if you don't want to. If you know that you've got maybe end of semester, maybe you're going to need a lot of stuff and you don't want to be, trying to figure out how to keep free, you can pay for it for a month and then leave the subscription and go back to free. They are fine with that. It's an amazingly powerful tool. It is something that a lot of the schools are using. And by the way, they also, let me bring this up, have for students. So, I can fix this really fast. I forgot. I had a presentation the other day and we had to we had to adjust some things for people. Okay. So there is an education program for students, for schools, and for teachers. So your school may already offer it, so you do want to check with that. If you are an educator, there's a deal there for you as well. And as usual, you can go through and check out all kinds of stuff. Now, there are a couple of things that you can't do with Canva. A lot of that is tied to the AI because they're trying to encourage students to do their work and not rely on AI or, basically cheat. All right, AI is not necessarily cheating, but you get the point. But you can go ahead and check this out. There's a ton of information. There's a ton of material specifically targeted to students and teachers. So don't hesitate. Go check it out because it is a really handy tool, and it is a tool that actually is useful for a lot of us, right? I use it on a regular basis. But for back to school, for doing your presentations, all that kind of stuff, it is, and the other thing that it does an amazing job with is charts and graphs. Like if you have to do charts and graphs, they've got tools in here that make it so easy to do really impressive ones. That, by the way, don't skew the data because that's very important, which you will learn in school, that you need to be a little careful when you're looking at charts and graphs, but also when you're creating your own, you don't want to be misleading. Their tools are really awesome. So I highly recommend you go check that out. So that is Canva. And I hope that you will go and check that one out. There we go. I need to make that automatic to go that way. Okay, so that's the first one. All right, so next we're going to start to talk about some hardware. And there's a lot of different options. So I'm going to talk about how to help you decide which one might work best for you. Just try this one more time. Okay, I don't know why. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm going to have to check Facebook comments the old school way because my tool is not connecting, which is a Facebook thing. All right, so let's go ahead and talk hardware. We're going to start off with the Chromebook. So again, the Chromebook is something that a lot of schools are using on their own. For those of you who don't know what I'm talking about, so this is an example of a Chromebook. So it basically, at first glance, it looks a lot like a laptop, right? A lot of them do the fold thing, so you can, use it in whatever direction you want. A lot of them are touch screens, but not all, so you do need to check. Some work with a stylus, some don't. Generally, if it's a touchscreen, there's usually a stylus that will work with it, which I mentioned because the stylus is really handy as an accessibility device, right? So I use a stylus all the time. I use a Wacom tablet, which we'll talk about in a minute. I started using this because I was doing a lot of detail work on computers, and I was really starting to have a problem with carpal tunnel. This solved that problem. I not had a moment's trouble. I use this as a mouse, as a stylus. It does all the things for me because it is a more natural position for my hand. And so I'm not fighting it like I used to fight the mouse. So it's also super handy for anybody who has a student that is going to be doing any kind of art. Now that includes, 3D and drawing and even for video editing, I like it. So it's a lot of different options. The touch screen is not a requirement, but it is a nice to have, to be sure. And it is something also that you want to check in with your school because some of the schools are providing them. Some of the schools are offering deals on them. So do go ahead and check. But of course, as always, let me switch over to this. You can go ahead and just get your own too. And the price range is reasonable and varied, right? So you can get one. So like this is actually a pretty good one here. So this is $170, right? So again, you might need to save up for that, which is why we're having this conversation now, but you can get them for as little as $112, $113, I guess, really, all the way up to however much you want to pay, right? So I have one that I bought because I pound on my Chromebooks, right? When I first started to play with them, I wanted to see, how much could you do with them? And I was impressed with how far I could push it. So they're lovely because they are lightweight. You can toss them in your bag and go. They work with or without Wi-Fi. So if you need to work offline, you can. You just want to make sure you've got everything loaded on it. And because of the price point, like it's really a no-brainer. Like if you're looking to do, email, surf the web, take notes, do research, read documents, edit documents, PDFs, all that kind of stuff. You can also do a certain level of gaming on them. So this is where we start to talk about the fact that these are multi-purpose devices. So you could buy a Chromebook and you could use that for note-taking, for schoolwork, for keeping yourself organized, for your calendars, for your emails. You can also use it to stream content, right? If you're a Netflix person or whatever. And that's basically, I mean, yes, you could watch your Netflix this way, but you can also just, kind of flip it this way. This is what a lot of people do when they're looking at it, because then you could adjust the angle the way you need to. It is a multi-function device, hands down. It is lightweight, so if you're, not looking to carry 8,000 pounds on your back like we used to in the old days, in your backpack, it's lightweight. The battery life is amazing, so lots of flexibility. You can also load things like the Kindle Reader on here. So if you want to, read, either if you're getting some of your books as Kindle documents, or if you just like to read like I do, you always want to have that material available. You've got it here. So it is one device that you could spend $100 on, right? Roughly, and get a lot of value out of it, use it for a lot of different things, and be ready to rock and roll. And like I said, a lot of schools, that's what they're giving to their students. Not all of them. So some of them only give it to them like while they're on school grounds. It's not like you can take it with you. So that's why you might want to invest in one on your own. But it's definitely worth checking out. And that's the use case for a lot of people. If you want something that's lightweight, that is flexible, not only as in how you can open and, position it, right? So whether you want it like this or whether you want it like that, or if you want to, I should just unplug it. So if you want to do it like this, so you can look at it, you can actually turn it into a tablet and work with it that way. And you see that it does adjust. So it's flexible from that standpoint, but it's also flexible in what you can do with it. And like I said, I've been positively amazed by what I could do with it. So that's why when I went to get myself another one, this one is getting to end of life. I've had this one for quite a long time. It's quite beat up. It's got some dents and scratches. It's traveled a lot with me. So when I decided it was time to treat myself, because I realized with this one how much use I could get out of it, I treated myself, and so I got one that was considerably more than $100. Well, I think it was $600, $700, which is a lot less than I paid for any laptop. And it is doing an amazing job. So there is value in getting the more expensive one if you can swing it, if you need it. You may not need it. If you're, the cases on them are pretty substantial. Like, this is a metal case. Well, it sounds like plastic, but it feels like metal. Metal on the bottom, that's why. Super useful. I can vouch for it. They take a beating. Not that you want to beat your equipment, but it happens. So that is definitely my number one recommendation. If you need some sort of computing device to do what we just listed out as far as note-taking and organization and email and that kind of stuff, it is definitely worth looking at. That said, there are others, right? Get that out of here. So the next one is the Google Pixel tablet. Now, this is not quite as functional as pop it off here. Got one right here. It's not quite as functional as the Chromebook, right? So there's no keyboard with it. There is a soft keyboard, right? There's an on-screen keyboard. There is a USB port, so you could plug one in if you wanted to. But the reason I'm mentioning this one is if you are more of a tablet person, this is an amazing tablet. I'm really impressed and happy with what this is doing for me. So it looks very much like the Chromebook does, but it's a tablet design. It does not come with a stylus, but you can pick up styluses. I've done a whole show. I did an unboxing and did a show about how to use the Pixel tablet. But again, you can do emails, you can do research, you can use it as your alarm clock. So you saw, I probably should have left that up. I probably can't force that to come back. But you could set it up so that the default is a clock, so you can have it be your alarm clock. So again, if you just need reminders during the day, or again, if you're going away to school, you could use this to watch your Netflix or whatever. I mean, it's a pretty good sized screen, so like you and your roommates and your friends could hang around in. I mean, yeah, it's not an 80-inch TV, but it's also not everybody trying to see it on your phone, right? So everything, is relative. but it'll keep you organized. You can play music on it. It does come with the stand. Okay. And the stand does improve the audio on it. So whether you're watching, content or movies of some sort, if you're doing music, it's all that. There are games that you can play on it. So again, it is another great option if you're looking for something that is not a fully fledged computer, but you need to do some things. And again, because it serves multiple purposes, the price is not completely insane. So let me bring this up. Now, of course, you can get it on the Google store. And I would say, check there and check Amazon or someplace like that, because every so often, like I'll look at it on the Google store as I'm telling somebody about it, and then I'll come here and look at Amazon, and it'll be like $50 off. So keep an eye on all the different sites, because there will be a lot of deals as back to school gets closer and closer. Some of them are already starting to pop up. You have two choices: the 256, that's what I got. You can also get it with 128 memory. So again, if you need a little bit more of a money savings, you don't need all that extra storage space, that's definitely an option to go. There's different colors, all that kind of stuff. But again, it's another multi-purpose device that is well below $1,000, which tends to be people's like break point as far as like laptops and desktops and that type of thing. So definitely worth looking at. Can serve a lot of different purposes, and is just generally a really nice, flexible device. I'm trying to see if I can get the clock to come back up. That's what I've been using it for. Like I have it set to remind me about meetings and all that kind of stuff, because that way it's just less friction for my brain. Actually, before I go farther, I always forget to do this. For those of you who are new here, my name is Kathleen. I'm here as your tech coach. The short version of the story is I do technology as my day gig. I design software applications. And technology is also my hobby, because I love the variety. I love the possibility of it. So because of that, all my friends, family, neighbors, coworkers tended to come to me when they had a question or they needed help or they wanted recommendations. And over time, that has expanded into their networks, which made me realize that not everybody has somebody to talk to. So hello, I'm here every week for you. You can always go to my website. If you have questions, you can reach out. If you want one-on-one consulting, we can go ahead and book that. Here we go. Well, that's not really the clock, though. There we go. There's the clock. See if I can get it to come off without activating. Sorry, just wanted to show you the clock thing again. So there you go. There's different clock faces you can get. So that's why I do this show every week. You are welcome to come live, ask questions about any technology you want, or just hang out and have fun and chat like we do, or just go ahead and jump in the comments. I do go and reply to them as soon as possible. So hello, welcome. Happy to have you here. All right, so back to school. We're going to keep rolling here because we got a lot to talk about. So we've talked about the Chromebook. We've talked about the Google Pixel tablet. Any kind of a tablet device can do what the Google Pixel tablet did. The reason I'm recommending the Google one is because A, it's new. So if you buy it, you're kind of future-proofing for a while, because it will have a lifetime before they depreciate it, which happens, right? That, like I mentioned, that's what's happening. This is one of the first Chromebooks that had come out, and it is going to stop getting updates sooner or later, because at some point the hardware, it gets to be dated, right? And so it can't necessarily support what the new software can do. Also, they just like to depreciate things, but that's a whole other conversation. So we talked about those. Now let's move on to the conversation about desktop, laptops, convertible computers. When I say convertible, just to clear it, some people call them hybrid. 6 1/2 dozen of the other. I just had to pick a word here. All right. So if the Chromebook or a tablet device is not enough firepower for you, you could go ahead, obviously, and get a desktop, laptop, or convertible, and we'll talk about how to decide what might work best for you instead of or in addition to, right? So as far as doing things like, using it for an alarm clock, that kind of thing, I don't know that you want to spend money on a desktop or even a laptop, to be your alarm clock, right? That's where other devices are better to go. And, frankly, your phone can do that for you too. So again, it's not necessarily an either or. It could very much be an and. But desktops are great if you want something that can just sit someplace and you're going to come to it when you need it. Yes, in theory, you could lug a laptop or a desktop around with you. I mean, gamers do it all the time. But it's a lot of weight, and there is a certain amount of care that needs to be taken, because you don't want to be slamming around your desktop They're not really designed for a lot of moving around. And so you don't want it to wear out before it's time, is basically where that's going. So that's one thing. Now the laptop obviously is designed to be portable, right? So you've got your laptop. Now the thing is, when you're looking, like, whether you can't necessarily tell by looking at things like this is the Chromebook, this is the laptop. This could also be a Chromebook, right? Because they'll occasionally puts out Chromebooks. So that is just, you can't always tell by sight. But, and by the way, this is what people would consider convertibles, right? So, right, laptop you're used to, right? They call it the clamshell. You've got the keyboard that's built in. You've got the screen. Again, the screen may or may not be touch screen. If you want that, that's going to cost you more. You're going to want to, keep an eye on the specs for that. Again, if it is a touch screen, it may or may not work with a stylus. So again, if that's important to you, you'll need to check the specs and see. But most, laptops are just, they're going to be like this. There's a certain amount of flexibility. This is considered a convertible or a hybrid because this also does, like I showed you with the Chromebook, right? So you could watch your content and your movies on this. You could treat it like a tablet if you wanted to, because this one is a touchscreen. That's not so helpful if it's not a touchscreen after all, right? So that's the big difference between your traditional laptop and a convertible. So let's talk about how you're going to decide which one you want or you need, right? So desktops are firepower, right? Those are the ones where you can really max it out and you can make it super powerful. And from putting it in school terms, not everybody needs one. Let's be honest there. There are certain areas of study where a desktop is definitely going to help. If you're going to be doing CAD, 3D kind of stuff, if you're going to be doing movies, right? If that's what you're studying, you're going to want a desktop. You're going to want as much memory and power and graphics and all that kind of stuff so that it can handle it. If you just need something to do research, to do email, to write your papers on, to do your presentations on, you probably don't necessarily need a desktop. Obviously, it's a preference, it's a judgment call, but just as a quick checklist kind of a thing, that's how I recommend people kind of think about it when they're trying to decide which way to go. The laptop, by definition, much more portable, right? Doesn't mean that you can't do video, CAD, maybe, some graphics, right? Again, you would have to get a pretty high-end laptop to do that, to do a lot of that, to do it reliably and to do it quickly. But if you just need to do your research, if you need to do your emails, your reports, that kind of stuff, if you want to take notes on a computer, this is a very good way to go. Same thing for the convertible. For me, the difference between the laptop and the convertible, again, is how much you're going to use it for outside of the standard email reports and research kind of thing. If you're going to watch a lot of content on it, it may be good. If you do want to do, drawing, or if you would like to write by hand with a stylus, that's where the convertible might work because it's a more comfortable form factor. If it's something you just want to hold and kind of treat like a notebook or a notepad, the convertible is the way to go. But that's sort of the quick checklist on how to go ahead and decide on those kinds of things. Once again, there are price ranges for all this stuff here. So again, and as I mentioned, all the links are in the description, but you can pay, you pay as much as you want, like anything else. You could get a reasonable computer for, I would say, $500 if you're looking to do things like graphics and all that. Obviously, the more power you need out of it, the more it's going to cost you, right? So you could probably do some basic stuff at the $500 mark, but you're going to need to get closer to that $1,000 mark to really get the power out of it. And if you're going to buy a desktop, I do recommend that you seriously consider buying the tower, right, and putting your money into that, because you're going to want like something like this, right? So you're going to want an i7 or, Max equivalents also are out there. But you're going to want at least an i7, maybe an i9 if you're really going to be pushing it. You're going to want, some serious RAM in there. You're going to want a really good graphics card. This is a pretty good graphics card. That's actually a pretty good graphics card. It's better to put the money into that, and then you probably have a keyboard around that you can repurpose, a mouse, maybe a monitor. But if you focus on buying the actual desktop unit itself, making sure that the specs are good for you, that it's going to have the power that you need in it in the right areas, right? You don't necessarily need to max it out across the board, but you don't want to put a really high-end graphics card in and then have really low memory, because you're not going to get the benefit of that high-end graphics card, right? So you're going to want to balance out all the things. The other thing that you can do is you can go to the different manufacturers. Let me bring that up. And you're going to see that they're starting to have their back to school stuff up. So when you do that, like if you go to something like an Amazon or Best Buy or whatever your favorite electronics store is, you're going to buy it off the shelf the way it is. If you go to the different manufacturer sites, you can, in some cases, configure your machine, right? So you can make choices about what you want on it, where you want to put your money, what's more important to you. So again, like look at all these things, think about it. This is why you really need to be thinking about this before you're heading out the door to go to school, because there are decisions to be made. You want to make smart choices that are aligned with where it is that you're going to be doing your studies. And then it may also take some time to get it. So, obviously you can walk into a Best Buy or your electronics store or order from Amazon and have it, right away or in a day or two. If you need to custom config a system, that may take weeks or even months. So that's why you want to know, and you want to think about it, and you want to compare all these things ahead of time, because the amount of time between when you make the decision and when you actually get it in your hands is important, right? You can't necessarily wait until December to get your hardware, because you're going to school in September and you can't not have it for a couple of months. So that's really important. Okay. Sometimes you feel like beating your equipment. Ideally don't, but yes, we all have those moments where, you get frustrated, and yeah, it's been known to happen. So do go and look at all of your different options. Do go and consider it, and kind of play with the different scenarios. So I'm just going to show you a few more that you can just get from a place like Amazon. Of course, there are other options. So when it comes to the laptops, again, yes, you can get, a fairly decent one here, but it's 16, meg of RAM. You're not going to be able to do a lot of graphics work. You're not going to want to do gaming on that. The i5 is fine for research or that type of thing, but you're not going to run CAD software on there. You're not going to, want to render your videos on there. It'll take freaking days. But that said, if that's, if you just need something basic, there's nothing wrong with going with a system like this, right? So this is... Okay, it's a Celeron, but that's not bad. I mean, for what you're getting it for, like this kind of a system would absolutely work well for you on just the... Can you see the cursor? I should probably... Let me do this. So something like this one, right, is fine for something that's a little bit more powerful than your Chromebook or a tablet, but isn't going to give you the full power of a desktop or a higher end laptop. Now, the other thing to keep in mind, while laptops are great because they are flexible and portable and easy to carry around, you will spend more money to get a laptop, like a higher end laptop, that is the same, or usually it's a little less than a desktop, a powerful desktop, because it's smaller. It's hard to get all those components in there, all that kind of stuff. So just be aware that there's always two things I tell people when they talk about getting a really powerful laptop. It's great. It's good to have on hand. You can do things wherever you are. It's a wonderful thing. I use them all the time. It is going to cost more to get one where, the same level of functionality, the same specs for a desktop will always be cheaper. The other thing is, if you're taking a laptop and you're throwing it in your bag, there's a certain additional wear and tear that you're not going to get on your desktop. So the lifespan of any laptop is going to be less than a desktop. Wear and tear, heat, because again, it's small, right? I mean, you've got all that stuff in there, but it's small. And heat is the enemy of electronics. Also too cold, but heat is the enemy as far as running it. Whereas a desktop unit, you're not throwing it around. It's the way that it's built, there's already airflow inside of it, so everything isn't packed right on top of each other. So it's not that a laptop is bad. It's just I want everybody to make very informed decisions, because you're never going to get the lifespan out of a laptop that you're going to out of a desktop. That's just the way it goes. Also, it's a lot easier to swap out pieces of a desktop than it is a laptop. Now, there are some things, like you can upgrade the memory. Sometimes you can upgrade the hard drive depending on where it's positioned. But with a desktop, you can open it up, rip the guts out, and rebuild it. I've been able to do that. So again, it's not that one is bad and one is good. It's that you want to pick the right thing for you and go into it with realistic expectations. Okay? Let's see. Was there anything else here I wanted to show you for this part of the conversation? Oh, okay. So I'll just show you real quick the convertible or the hybrid one. So again, because they're hybrid and a lot of these are touch screens, they will get more expensive, but you can get basic ones, right? So it's a 2-in-1 here, but 4 gigabytes of RAM. You are definitely not going to be doing any video rendering on that. So, these are sort of more powerful than the Chromebook, but not as powerful as a regular laptop, but you can actually get one. So Core 7, 16 gig, again, I would not want to I don't think I'd want to render video on that. But it's got a pretty good graphics card in it. So there's definitely some other stuff you could do. Let's just see. I'm just looking to see if there's anything else that's kind of jumping out at me. I mean, these are all pretty reasonably priced. So here's one. So this is the HP. It's a Core i7, so that's good. 32 gig of RAM. That's good. You could probably start to render video. I don't know. It depends on the CAD programs. Most of the CAD programs want you to have 64 gig of memory, but you could probably find some that work. But you could do art on this, that type of thing. Got a good size hard drive. So again, something like this, but now we're talking, over $1,000. So that's what I meant about sliding scale. So, it's your needs, what you're studying, and your budget, and you've got to balance everything out across that. Hence the reason you need to have these conversations now. All right. We already looked at those. All right, let me just make sure I've covered all that. Okay, so that's the short version of the hardware conversation on that. Now we're going to talk about different ways to keep your notes and or do some of your reading. So let's go ahead and get into that, shall we? Here we go. All right. I know you people who know me well are not surprised to see the Rocketbook on here. And give me 1 second. I'm going to go and get my other props for this one. Pop out here. This. I have a Rocketbook problem. I'll fess up to this now, okay? So we're going to be talking about Rocketbook. We have a few here. But for anybody who's not familiar with the concept of the Rocketbook, Rocketbook is a company that puts out basically they're reusable notebooks, right? So different sizes, different shapes, all that kind of stuff. And we'll get into more details on that. But the idea is that you have, it's a notebook, it's a spiral, and you can go ahead and you can, write on it. Good pen here. I'll show you that. Those are private notes. Okay. I need a new pen. But, you can write on it. You can use different colored pens, but you do need to use these special pens. So these are called the friction pens. Just show you. So you don't want to use just any old pen on one of these. It's the Pilot Frictions erasables. You're not going to use the eraser on the end because what you do with this, I wonder if this will work on the overhead. Let's try it on the overhead. There we go. Okay, you can kind of see what I scribbled there, right? So, you can write on it, and I'll get into more details because it does more than that. But the idea is that they come with a little spray bottle. I can't find mine. I can never find mine. But you can then erase what you did and reuse the notebook. So for me, that works on a couple of levels because we're saving trees, but also because this happens to me a lot. When I was using paper notebooks, I was always worried about running out of space. I was always worried about, so sometimes I would carry extra because I didn't want to get to the end of the notebook and then not have, any more space to write. But by the same token, I want to make sure that I am taking the notes the way I need to take them. So, yes, absolutely, gamers, right? Yeah, I know you're around a lot, so the Rocketbook is a thing for me. Absolutely. But they're very useful. And the other benefit to them is that there's an app that you put on the phone, right? So after you take your notes, you can go in and you can specify different locations. Now, it doesn't have to be these locations, but you have all these different symbols here, and you can assign each one of these to be a different location. So for example, I use one for my personal notes. I use it for the different clients that I've got. I do it for my business. So when I go in and I'm making a note, you can't really see it. I don't think it's even going to show up on the overhead. Let me see. Try to bring the overhead back up again. Okay, yeah, it doesn't really, it's really faint at the bottom, so I don't know if you can see, but right next to where the page number is on this one, the symbols are here. Those same symbols I just showed you on the front. And so what you do when you come in and you're getting ready to take the notes, if you're like, oh, okay, you know, this note is for, you know, schoolwork. So let's say I decided that, let's say maybe the little bell is my schoolwork. So I would just come in here and I would just put a mark on that. And then when you use the application to take a picture of what you've written, it will say, oh, okay, you've got this marked for this particular location. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to send that particular set of notes to that location. And that location can be a lot of different things. It can be something like cloud storage, right? So Google Drive, OneNote, OneDrive, whatever you like to use. You can also email it to yourself. So there's a lot of different things that you can do with it. So, and the other benefit to that is, and the reason it really changed things for me, I'm notorious for writing things in a notebook and the notebook being in one place and me being someplace else, and I need those notes, right? And usually I'm not talking like a different room in my house. I'm talking like I'm in another town and I'm like, shoot, I didn't grab my notebook and now I don't have those notes with me. Using something like the Rocketbook, you have your notes with you all the time, because as long as you take that extra step of just taking the picture of it with the app, then it's available to you online and you can refer to it anywhere you need to, right? You can do it from your phone, you can do it from a computer, you can do it from all the things. So super, super helpful, very flexible, and you can work the way you prefer to. So in the beginning, you know, they just had, you know, a couple of basic sizes and styles. However, they have really branched out. So I'm just going to take you on a short tour, and then I'll show you like where you can go and learn more about their stuff. So now you can get ones that have the tabs, and you can actually, they started selling these because we all begged. So you can actually go ahead. So this is a multi-subject notebook, right? So this has got a lot of pages in it, and you can organize yourself just like you would with a, you know, 3 or a 5 or a, you know, an 8 subject notebook. You can do that kind of stuff. You can move things around as you need to. Super handy. You can also, if you like to be a little bit more organized, there are folios that you can get for it. This will work overhead. Let's try it. Let's try the overhead. Okay, so this is the one of the folios, right? And so it opens up and it's got, you know, these slots here that you can put, you know, notes in or business cards or whatever. You can also put your notebooks. See, I borrowed one of the tabs from that other one and I put them in here. But this is the other thing I want to show you. They come in different styles, right? So the ones that I had, the multi-subject one is just, it's just a lined notebook, right? It's exactly what you would expect it to be. They're really faint, but they're just, you know, your basic lines on here. But you can get all kinds of different formats depending on how it is, again, that you prefer to work, right? So project details, start date, end date, milestones, right? So if you want to be super organized that way, they've got that. They've also got the Cornell layouts. I don't know if I have any Cornells in here. This is just for like meeting notes or group notes. You put your heading up here. You can, you know, attendees, details, actions, all that kind of stuff. So they have a ton of different ones. Like I was talking about, you can get colors. This is a pen that you can put 3 different ink cartridges into and then switch, kind of like the Bic pens from days of old. And hopefully some people still remember those. They're still out there. This is a different folio with different, so if you like grids, they have dot, you know, layout, papers, all that kind of stuff. Also, for you people who like Panda planners, they have those. So they got together with Panda, and so they've got the whole Panda thing all broken out here. I will admit, I tried it. It didn't work for me. I'll probably rehome this at some point. And we're just scratching the surface here. This is the other thing, and this I do find that I like, and I bring this a lot when I go on site with meetings. You can get them so that you can get these different paper packs, and so you can swap out. So usually what I do is I put, you know, a couple of paper packs on the side, and then you can just go ahead and pop them in and work with whatever you want that way. Not only do they have it at the top, so this you know, works for a lot of people. When you're taking notes and you maybe don't have a lot of space, it's easier to flip the pages that way. And if you don't want to be laying it on the page, you can on the table, you can just go ahead and do that with it. However, I think I have one here. Whoops. Sorry, didn't mean to smack the camera. You can also get them that are on the side. So again, you can swap out. This is a really strong magnet. So you can have different ones of these and then swap out, you know, depending on the meeting that you're having or the project that you're working on, and have different things in them. And again, all kinds of different layouts. Like you can choose from a lot of different ones. Calendar views. So this is the type of thing, and like the Cornell, which is what I use all the time. The Cornell just really works for me. Lots and lots and lots. They're not all big. Okay, so I don't know if they still, but like assignment pads when I was a kid was a thing, right? So you needed an assignment pad. But this is also, I just keep this, you know, in my bag with me because it's a little one and it's good and easy to go, but you can take your notes. And all of these things you can save it to the cloud using the app that's on here. Where did I just, okay, there it is. They also, for those of you who like it, have done index cards. So the one side of them, I think this is just a grid pattern. Yes, again, it's hard to see because it's really light so that it doesn't get in the way of your notes when you do the pictures. But it also, one side is lined and one side is just the grids. And then you can go ahead. So if you like to do flashcards or whatever, you're a note card kind of person. My dad, everything he did was always on note cards. They've got that. And again, it's the same thing. You write on it, you take the picture of it, and then you just wipe it clean and you can reuse it again. Oh, they're not done. So there's also this, again, maybe more for the teachers or whatever, but there are these things called beacons. And these are designed to be put on like whiteboards or those large Post-it note things that you see in meeting rooms or whatever. And the idea is that you can put it in the four corners of whatever it is. I mean, obviously it would be bigger than this, but we only have so much room to work with. You can write on it, you can do all that kind of stuff. You take your phone again and you take the picture with the Rocketbook app. And then again, just like with the notebooks, you have that content, you have those notes available to you online that you can share with whoever. So they have branched out to do other things. They just finished a Kickstarter, and so next year we're going to get kind of like Post-it note kind of things from them that are also reusable. Go check out the site. So let me show you the site. Like I said, all the links are in the description. But so their website is really good. They got all kinds of good stuff here. You can flip your way through. They're having a summer sale right now. They will have a back to school sale. They always do. But you can check out, they've got different colors and sizes. You can see all of the different page layouts. It explains how to use it. So lots of good stuff here. Go and check out the store and check out all the things I just showed you and probably more at this point. If you like to shop on Amazon, they also sell on Amazon. Plus you can get like extra things. Sometimes these are not available on the Rocketbook store, but you can get them here. So you can get like the pen holder, which you might have seen on one of mine. Like I like some of the folios come with it, but you can just take these and put it on the notebook itself if you don't like to do the folio thing. You can buy these things independently. You can buy them as a set. So lots of flexibility, lots to choose from. Yeah, so we've got legal size, we've got executive size, letter size. This is the dot. This is lined. That's also lined. This is a mix of dot and grid line or lined. So lots and lots to choose from. So basically, if there's a combination that you want, at this point, they've got it for you. And like, it's also just good to give to the kids because, again, as long as you're using the right pens, that's the key. And sooner or later, everybody writes on it with a non-good pen. But when you're using, these pens, which you can get in a bunch of different places. You can get it from Rocketbook. You can buy them, in a lot of stationery stores and all that. But it does need to be the Pilot Friction with the X in the middle. These are the ones you're going to use. Then you're off to the races. You're all set and ready to go. I think I covered everything. I knew this was going to be a long show. I apologize. Okay, so let's keep going. So that's the Rocketbook. If you have questions, I've done other videos on them. Or, of course, you can always go ahead and reach out if you'd like to ask questions about it. Or if you want me to do another show just focus on a particular piece of the functionality, very happy to do that for you. Because I really do love them. I find them to be very helpful. All right, let me get my next, which again is not really going to be a surprise to a lot of people who are around here a lot. But hey, we got to do the things, right? Okay, so three guesses in the chat room. What's coming up next? Okay, so the Rocketbook, as you saw, the prices, they range, but they're pretty reasonable, and they will, like, they're having 25% off summer sale now because I'm doing this in July. But you can pick up just a notebook. I'm just looking really quick here. No short-term memory. Okay, so yeah, so like a full size, letter size, you pick up for about $40. But you will use that for years. So, and with the discount and all that, there's lots of different options. That's the letter size. Oh, that's funny. The letter size right now is more expensive on the site than the executive. This is why you want to keep comparing prices. Right now, the executive, and also different colors. The prices will change based on different colors. But right now in the store, it's $38 for the executive size, and the letter is $40. So, yes, it's not, $2 from the stationery store, but you will get a lot more use out of it. And the benefit of having the online storage so that your notes are always available to you, priceless. And frankly, life-saving sometimes. Okay, here we go. The Remarkable. Okay, now I will say up front, not cheap. Okay, so, but this is just another level of doing your notes and having them available where you are and online. So I have two here. Again, this is another thing where I have a problem. And it does not matter. As I'm doing this show, like, whichever one you can get is fine. So this is the original one. Sometimes you can find this a little bit cheaper on the market right now because the Remarkable 2 has come out. And it's been out for a little while now. And the idea behind these devices is that they're electronic notebooks. That's how they market it. Just wake it up. Overhead. So this is something that you use mainly a stylus. And I'll explain that why in a second. Start up. Wakey, dear. Put the other one too. All right, let's go to the overhead. So it is basically letter size. And you can store all of your documents. You can also, which is why I like to talk about this one as well, you can put content that you need to read or edit or whatever. So you can do PDFs, you can do ebooks, and you can, read them, you can highlight them, you can take notes on them, or you can just take notes. So I'm going to just do a quick sheet. And you get your page here, and then over on the side are your basic controls. So you can control the size, the type of writing implement you're using. So a ballpoint pen, fine liner, pencil, mechanical pencil, highlighter, regular marker, paintbrush, calligraphy. I will say I've seen people do amazing art with this thing. That's not me. You can also type using the soft keyboard. More on that in a moment. But there's all kinds of stuff. You got your eraser, you can highlight and all this stuff. But I'll just take this, right? And so the idea here is you can draw, you can doodle, you can read, you can do all those kinds of things. It is electronic. It is not thick. It is not heavy. It travels well. And if you like to write, but then have these things available to you, you're going to want to seriously consider taking a look at this. Because once you've done these things, right, when you've either made notes or you've edited something or whatever, it then gets synced to a cloud source. Now, you do have to pay for the monthly on that. But if you pay for that, it will sync to the cloud. And that means whatever it is that you've been working on, whatever you've been reading is also available to you wherever you are, because there is a desktop app and there is a phone app so that you can go ahead and access it. And you can make additional changes from the desktop app and the phone app. So it's not like you always have to go back to your device. If you've left a device at home and you're out and about and you need to add a quick note to something, you can go ahead and do that. Highly flexible. The other benefit to this is it's not a computer, right? So, and a lot of people misunderstand, and when they see this and they get excited about it and they're like, well, what? I can't do my emails. I can't surf the web. That's the whole point of this device, right? This device is about focus. So if you are somebody who needs something to focus, prefers to have something to focus on, remove all the distraction. You don't want the notifications popping up. You don't want to get that sirens call for your social media, right? You want to be able to focus on what you're doing. These devices are key for that, because it is something you can grab and go, sit in the coffee shop, sit in the backyard, be in class and take notes on it. The teachers, you may have to explain it to them because you have some teachers that are still anti-computer in the classroom. But when you show them that you can't surf the web on this, you're not going to get those distractions, they'll be okay with this. You just have to educate them a little bit. All the things I just showed you on the first one work on the second one. There is one extra little benefit. Now, and then this is something extra that you have to pay for. But you can get a physical keyboard for it now. Now, the community of users is very divided about this. And to be honest, I didn't think I was going to like it. Get this set up on the overhead. Wakey again. Why am I not? There we go. Start button's in a different spot on that one. Okay, let me drop that. So if you prefer, and there are times when it makes sense to type and not use the soft keyboard on board, there is an upgrade that you can add on for this. The actual device has got a magnetic strip on it so that you can attach a cover or whatever. But you've still got your stylus. You can still do all the things I showed you on the other one. But I just wanted to mention, because I kind of alluded to it, that yes, there is a soft keyboard on any Remarkable device, but if you want a physical keyboard, that is available. It is an additional cost. And like I said, I'm being upfront. This is not a cheap device by any means. That said, it is so good for focus, performance, and efficiency. Like this is my go-to. Right, the Rocketbooks go with me for like that quick one-off note. I want something in my bag, whatever. The Remarkable travels with me a lot, also. But this is when I'm like, okay, I'm ready to work. I'm ready to work on stuff. And the other benefit is you can take the stuff that you've done on the Remarkable when you've uploaded it. You can bring it to your Remarkable. From the Rocketbook, you can bring it to the Remarkable and continue to work on it. So, huge game changer. I have been looking for this device for decades. And when I finally got my hands on one, it was everything I hoped for and more. So yes, I am sort of a zealot about it. But up front, I definitely, I will admit that it is, it's a little expensive, and I'll show you that in a minute. But this is another, yes, perfect comment. Perfect for stenographers in training. Yeah, it is. Again, I have seen people do amazing artwork with the Remarkable. That is not me, but it is possible. So it is a very versatile thing, but also I just want to drive home the fact that yes, you can also do, let's back up. You can also you can read on it, right? So you can put your document. Now, you can put some of the Kindle content on it if it's not DMR, if it's not locked down. There's some ways around it, but we're not going to talk about those because they're a little on the gray side. But you can put PDFs on it. You can put ebooks on it. So you can do your reading on here as well as making your notes and all of that. So that's another reason why I like it, because again, it's a multi-purpose, but still staying on that focus performance train, and keeping you from all those other distractions. So that is another good thing. Let me see, was there something else? You can share what you get on here. So the one thing that you can do, it is not an email tool. You cannot read your emails. You cannot bring your emails in, but you can email to somebody your notes. So if, for example, somebody misses something in class and asked if they could borrow your notes, you can just email it to them, which is a nice time saver too. So again, let me just show you. And I'm just going to remind you, it's expensive, and I'm acknowledging that up front. Okay, it is. Whoops, sorry, wrong one. Okay, so the Remarkable, you can't buy the Remarkable 1. I think they're no longer in their store anymore, but you can buy the Remarkable 2. You can find the Remarkable 1 in other places. If you use my link, which is in the description, you can get $40 off of the Remarkable 2. They've got really good explanations on ideas on how to use it and all that kind of stuff, but this is what everybody wants to know, so let's go there. Come on. I'm stopping because I think that price is way lower than it used to be. Okay, not going to complain. I could have sworn I paid $500 for mine, but that's fine. So you can go ahead, you can buy it. Now, you do have to, like, you have to decide which stylus you want. That's an additional cost. If you want a case, that's an additional cost. But is that because, I'm just wondering, like, wow. Okay. So yeah, the price has definitely dropped, which is good news. I mean, it's still not cheap. It's still not Rocketbook cheap, but it is another way to go. So you can go ahead and check that out here. And like I mentioned, oh, I guess I didn't go grab that, but you can often find the Remarkable one. Sometimes you can find it on Amazon. Sometimes you can find it on eBay. So they are out there. Sometimes they're a little bit cheaper. Not that much cheaper because, frankly, they won't work with the external keyboard, but otherwise it's the same device. It's just a different form factor. At some point, I would imagine that's going to get depreciated, but they haven't said anything about it. So I'm recommending it. No problem. Whether you get the V1 or the V2, you will be good to go. Okay, so I'm not losing my mind, right? That is definitely lower than it used to be. Okay, because I used to, I could have sworn it was like $500 beforehand or more. I'm going to have to go and look at my notes to see. But yeah, hey, they lowered the price. That's great. That's making it more affordable. I can recommend it without feeling like I have to like super explain it to other people. So yeah, that's good news. We will take that for the win. So again, for note taking, for focus, I cannot recommend the Remarkable 2 high enough. If you're curious, if you want to learn more about it, I've done other videos on it, so you can go and check those out. And if you, to be honest, I'm probably going to do, because they've added a whole bunch of new things to it. So I will, in the next couple of weeks, do more content about the Remarkable. But if you're curious now, you can go ahead and go back and check my previous videos. I've done some demos on it. Oh, by the way, from the Remarkable, that's the other thing. I knew there was something else. You can also screen share from it. So that involves using the desktop app. But if you want to use it for a presentation, or if you want to use it for teaching, absolutely can do that. You can kind of use it like a whiteboard. You can share it. You can show people the stuff. So it is a versatile thing without being just another computer. And for very specific use cases, and I do think school, education, and learning, great uses for it. This is definitely something to consider. Right? Your mileage may vary, all that kind of stuff, but it is something to consider. Oh my God, this show is going to be really long. Okay, we're getting near the end, I promise. Okay, let's move on to the next one, shall we? Get that out of the way. Let me go get my next prop. Only one prop. All right, and again, anybody who's been here for a while knows where I'm going. Okay, Amazon Kindle. So these, probably wake it up. These are still my favorite for reading home, on the go, wherever. I can carry a ton of books on my device and not hurt my back. I swear half of my back problems are from school and carrying like 100 pounds on my back in the backpack. This means you can carry your books with you wherever you want to go. Different sizes are available, different styles. There is a version where you can take notes. So here's the thing. You've always been able to take notes in the Amazon Kindle device, okay? In the reader too, maybe the e-reader, the software. You've always been able to take notes in this. Most people didn't know that. So they recently came out with a Remarkable-like device. I tested it. I don't necessarily recommend it if what you're looking for is the Remarkable. If you're looking for the Remarkable, stick with just the Kindle readers if you want to go there and you don't want to have to fuss around with the copyright stuff that you need from Amazon Kindle books. That said, it has a level of note-taking, just not at the point that I think it should have been. And again, I did a comparison on this, so you can go ahead and check that out. But just be aware that they do try to position it as being like the Remarkable or what's the other one? The Scribe Note. And it's not. So just be aware. It doesn't mean won't necessarily work for you, but it is something. But it is, again, something to consider for school because, especially if you're an English lit major, like you're going to be reading, a lot of different books. This is easy to have them handy. You can put some lightweight notes in here if you need to. And you can also use it on your phone, on your computer, right? So there are apps for it. You can also send your own documents to it. So just like I talked about with the Remarkable, where you can read your own content, put PDFs and all that kind of stuff, you can do that with the Kindle as well. And I've done shows on this, so you can go and check my other videos, but you can email it to yourself. There are desktop apps that you can just drag and drop your content, your files onto it, and it'll show up on your Kindle. So again, it's a really good way to have everything you need in one place, have it at your fingertips, and it's super lightweight. Plus, you can also get your textbook. So Amazon does, and again, not everybody knows it, but Amazon does sell textbooks. And a lot of the textbook companies are selling electronic versions now that are Kindle compatible. So instead of having to, again, carry around, the books, and an individual book could be gigantic. Okay, maybe that's a slight exaggeration, but they're like this. They're generally not this. They're usually more like that. So you do want to consider going ahead and looking at it, see what kind of things you're going to be reading, see if maybe what you're going to be reading will be available that way, because this is a great way to have it available everywhere. And by the way, if it is, not only can you do it on a Kindle device, but you can also do it on a Chromebook or on a tablet or on your desktop or on your laptop or on your hybrid. So again, it's that flexibility. It's that having everything where you need it at the point you need it is always a big win. All right, so let's just go ahead and look. So, as you would expect, there's a lot of options in the Amazon world for your Kindles. You can, get them for like $80 or so. You can get ones that are, hundreds of dollars. This is the one I was talking about, the Kindle Scribe. It's worth looking at if you're curious. It's because I have the Remarkable, it would have been a downgrade. But there are lots of different options for it. The other thing with all of these things that I've mentioned, whether it's the Chromebook, the Remarkable, the Kindle, your computers, your laptops, your desktop, or whatever, the other benefit of those things is the fact that if you need to be able to zoom in on the text, all of these things will do that for you, which is an accessibility win that I think is important to point out. So there's all of that. And then, oops, I just did the quick search for Kindle textbooks, so you can go and look yourself, but, calculus, mathematics, medicine, biology, there is a lot of stuff there. And so it is worth going and looking. And like I said, also looking at the provider for textbooks that your school is going to use. Check with them to see if they are making things that are Kindle compatible or ebook versions, that type of thing, PDFs, all that kind of good stuff. All right, so that is the core of what I wanted to cover. To the folks of you who stuck around, lately I've been trying to shove a little extra in for you folks who really push your way through to everything. I do have a couple of I'm going to run through them really quick, but a few extra tips. One of which you've seen me using, and that is called Epic Pen. So Epic Pen is a really amazing piece of software, amazingly cheap, that lets you draw on the screen. So I'll just show you real quick what it does. So this is the website, but this is how I was doing this, right? When I was this and the arrows, and you can do a bunch more. And again, I have done other videos on how to use it, but I highly recommend if you do any kind of presentation work like that, or if you do want to up your game when you're doing presentations for your classes, it's really handy. It's fun to use, and it's super, super cheap. There's a free version, which, can't go wrong with the free version. If you want a little bit more power, there is a paid version that is also very reasonable. So you can go check that out. I'm not going to go into all of that right now, but just know that that's available to you. Okay, why is this not? I think I'm going to have to be away. All right, so the other thing that I wanted to mention to you was the Wacom tablet. Again, if you've been around for a while, you know that. But if you want to use a stylus, but your computer doesn't come with one, something like this is a good way to go. You can get one for $40 or so. And with that, don't know why this is not. Hang on one second. Hang on. Mess something up. Oh, and it's just not letting me out. Okay. Okay, I'm just gonna have to talk about it. So this is just something you can do it wireless over Bluetooth, or you can connect it. But again, the links are in the descriptions. There's different sizes, different shapes. If you are artists doing CAD CAM, even for video editors, this is a good way to go. But if you just, for accessibility reasons, you need a stylus, that is definitely something to look at. The other thing to take a look at is consider getting a portable hard drive or a Thumbdrive. Yes, you can store to the cloud. Yes, you can, not have to worry about things from that standpoint. However, it looks like they come back. But however, you do want to have a physical copy nearby, right? So there are videos I've done on backups. So basically, you want to have, it's on your machine, whatever device you're using. You want to do a local copy, which is good to throw on your thumb drive or hard drive, and then do a cloud copy. That way, if something breaks on one of the others, you've got that to turn to. And I do believe, okay, so this is the Wacom. I just wanted to double check. Okay, so I think the base price for the one I've got is like $40 or $50. But thumb drives you can get. Again, you don't have to spend a ton of money. So that the portable drives, that you're basically looking, $100 up. Thumb drives you can get much cheaper. I don't know where my thumb drives went. Just look for that real quick. You can get thumb drives for unbelievably cheap these days. Yeah, $25 for a terabyte. So it's worth considering. Is this not working now either? Okay, so my computers are just fighting back now. That's fine. That's fine. I just verified $25. So you can go ahead and get that. And that way you've got an extra copy around. You can keep it in your drawer, keep it in your bag or whatever. So that way, if you're having a problem, you've got a resource to go back to. There's nothing worse than working on a project and then something going wrong with the device you've got to store it on and you can't get to it. So back it up to a thumb drive or an external hard drive and to the cloud, right? So thumb drive or hard drive, external hard drive and the cloud. And that way you'll be covered. One more thing, which I really wish I could bring up and show you, but that's okay. The link is in the description. For all the things that we have talked about, you can go and check out this site called id.me. And if you are in one of the categories where you can sign up for the discounted shopping, so that's military, nurse, first responder, teacher, government, medical, or student, hence the conversation, you can sign up with them for free. There's no monthly charge. There's no yearly charge. You just sign up with them. And then you can go to their site and get discounts on a lot of the stuff we've just talked about. And the other benefit to using that is if, say, you're buying from a site, that maybe is giving you a certain percentage off, you can double dip by taking the discount that the site is giving you and then go through id.me and see, because sometimes there's an additional discount. So for example, when I bought my desktop computer, Dell was offering, I think it was 10% off. And then through id.me, I got another 5% off. So I got 15% off for that computer. That's money I was not turning down. So it's worth going to check out. You do not have to be the military person, the medical person, whatever. Some of the categories you can be the child of, so a family member of. It's not to be child, family member of. So that's how I'm in it because my dad was in the military. He signed up for it, which meant that I could then sign up for it and get the benefit of it. So again, that is just one more way. I'm trying to save you money here wherever I can. So you can go ahead. It doesn't, it's not available for everything, but it's worth checking back because they're constantly refreshing things, and go and check to see what it is that's offered. Compare that to the other places. And sometimes, sometimes it's a small bonus. But I have seen benefits of $30, $50, $100 or more by going through them. So it's definitely worth checking out. So that's id.me. And again, that is on the in the list in the description. So you can go ahead and do that. Thank you to you people who have powered all the way through this. You are absolutely amazing. I love you for it. I hope that some of these things will be helpful to you and will make your back to school experience and your education more efficient, more fun, whatever it is that you need it to be. I would love to hear from you in the comments what you're thinking about getting or what you might have already gotten, how you're using it, because by sharing these tips and ideas, you may help somebody else figure out, oh, hey, that would be great for me. So we're all community here, so go ahead and share your ideas and tips down there, down in the comments. And we're good. We're going to wrap this thing up. I know this was a long one, but thank you so much. Hope everybody is having a great summer. It's not over yet, so don't panic. But do start to prepare yourself for a really great school year, and we will talk again soon. Bye.